What's up, guys? I'm Nikki.
I'm Bella, and this is the
Out of Our Minds podcast,
a playground for mystics and self-explorers to journey through the vast realms of the universe, cultural landscapes, and spiritual expansion.
Join us weekly as we dive into thought-provoking discussions that unveil the mysteries of existence and nurture the growth of our consciousness.
Okay.
Should I put this over here?
Yeah. Okay. So I watched this video a few weeks ago. I think it's been probably like 6 weeks or something. And so Randall Carlson, do you know who Randall Carlson is?
Mm-mm.
He's basically like this guy who does a lot of work and research in like history and also understanding like the planet's like geology. And he was also featured in the Netflix show called I think it was called Ancient Civilizations or something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, with that guy Graham Hancock.
Mm-hmm.
And Randall Carlson is in one of the episodes. So he works in that same field of like understanding megalithic structures, understanding what do they call those huge flooding events, like cataclysmic events, and basically like evolution of humanity as a species. And he's also very interested in like spirituality and our cosmic destiny. So this video is called Blueprint to Our Cosmic Destiny. And I watched this with kind of like not really knowing what it was going to be about, but the initial illustration of the channel, the channel is After School, and the like Instagram post that he made was a sketch from the video. And it was talking about like basically turning Earth into the Garden of Eden of the universe, and that we already have the blueprint, the plan to basically fulfill our cosmic destiny as a civilization. And the video itself just like blew my mind and also really helped me understand my own purpose, and it helped me kind of take more like seriously what I am drawn to do in this life, because previously I kind of diminished my purpose next to my partner Milan, because he's like this cool engineer who like builds rockets, and it was like so flashy and cool that I kind of always subconsciously diminished my purpose next to him through just my own thing, like having nothing to do with him. And then I watched this video and it totally changed my perspective on the importance of this work and our gifts and what we're called to.
I'm excited.
So hit it.
I'm going to be pausing it when I want to speak.
Okay.
But basically, here it is. I've outlined, based upon the modern cutting-edge science coupled with the ancient sacred traditions, to show that the blueprint for our future survival exists. And all we got to do is get up off of our asses and get to work. Pick up the trowel, just like 800 years ago, the craftsmen picked up the trowel and went to work, and they created these tremendous Gothic masterpieces, lifting hundreds, thousands of tons of stone, pointing our way towards the heavens and towards the stars. And we have to continue that work. See, this is the unfinished temple that was represented in the Masonic work, the cosmic city. We use the word urban to talk about cities, right? The urban area. Well, urban comes from the same root as the word orbit. You see, and when we study the traditions of sacred geometry as they were applied through sacred architecture, what we discover is that the whole blueprint for the colonization of the solar system has been given to us. It's ours. That's our legacy, our sacred legacy. And it shows us our destiny. The work of the Aquarian Age of the next 2,000 years is to create a cosmic civilization and to return. How are we going to restore the Earth to its Edenic state, to its original pristine state, before the fall of man, the state of paradise, the state of the primordial garden. Well, see, we're in that transition phase right now where we have to take the raw materials from the earth, alchemically transform them, take the platinum, the titanium, the silver, the iron, turn it into the instruments by which life can be lifted off the surface of the planet to colonize the entire solar system. And the entire solar system is the model of the holy city. And once you begin to recognize and understand the sacred geometry of this template that's been handed down, it is the holy city with all of the instructions of how to go about doing it. And it's a continuation of the great work that was undertaken by the cathedral builders, by the temple builders of old, the pyramid builders of old, the builders who set up the great megalithic stones to mark out our pathways to the stars. That's our destiny, is to become a cosmic species. And if we fail at that destiny, we will go the way of the woolly mammoths and the dinosaurs, and we will become extinct. And Earth's environment...
Wait, I have a question. So he's saying that in order for humans to live, we have to live on different planets?
We have to become a cosmic species, meaning interplanetary.
And that's why we're doing all this work with Mars.
I think it's definitely, part of the why is that the next step in a massive human evolution is to become multiplanetary.
And can you drop me into like what are the reasons behind why we can't survive just on Earth?
So I don't know if it's that we can't survive on Earth. I think it's that when humans spend more time in space, exploring space, and understanding other planets, like our consciousness is going to evolve in a way that I think is unprecedented. And I think because we think about like, if we are one with the universe, I think the whole idea is if that's really true, shouldn't we be out there and literally exploring more aspects of the solar system that we live in so that we can understand more about ourselves? And I think in order to basically move from just surviving and like making sure things are just maintaining on this planet, that actually I think, and he kind of gets to this in the video, that Earth will become what it's basically. I think there's scientific there are scientific breakthroughs waiting to happen that are aided by space exploration, because it expands our understanding of how life exists and what our part is in the stars. And there's even like whole theories about that extraterrestrial planets and beings have the technology and the knowledge to basically like fix all of the problems that we're having on Earth, especially from a like resource and nature perspective.
Well, because isn't that just us in the future? Like if you think about time not existing, traveling out there is just coming into contact with different dimensions and frequencies.
It could be us in the future, or it could be another civilization that we haven't met yet.
Right.
Because I definitely think there's other civilizations or like consciousnesses out there. And like in the movie Interstellar, which I won't give away too much, but like it kind of alludes to this idea that we could be communicating to ourselves from a different like quantum realm.
Right.
But
that's what feels more correct to me. Like when you think about this kind of travel into space, and you think about even what a star is and how there's stars that exist that aren't actually there just because the light is traveling still within the solar system and reaching our eyes in a way that it looks like it's still existing. Just our idea of time is so 3D and wrapped up in the material that I think as we get further and further out, we're dealing with a completely different meaning of life.
yeah.
So it confuses me to think about other civilizations existing in different, I guess we're talking about our personal solar system.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Is
mean,
this
do
just
you
talking
think that
about
there's life somewhere else in the universe?
like hands down 100%?
Like your question is that just us in the quote unquote future, but because our current understanding of time and space is linear, that it's like an other, but that it's just us. I think that could be true, and I also think that there's actual other, like in the Law of One, there's like references to these different planetary, like they call it like the Federation of Planets, and there's like another like universe of them that communicate with us. I guess in the end, maybe it's all the same thing, because if all is one, it's just another us. But maybe you're saying
That's
more
what
is
I'm
it
trying
like,
to get at.
is there like another, like a Nikki in another quantum realm or another part of the universe where time and space function differently than they do here?
I'm just thinking that we are all pieces of one consciousness, one source. And when you start breaking out into, like, even us in this material realm are all different aspects of that one piece of consciousness, just navigating life in all different frequencies that create our form and allow us to live certain realities. But I'm thinking as you reach higher levels of consciousness, what you're saying will happen once we start going out into space. We're just hitting into these higher frequencies where we are now communicating with just other forms of reflections of ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we're receiving information from these different planets or entities, maybe it's just us communicating with higher states of consciousness. I don't know. Maybe I'll have my questions answered in this video. So let's continue.
This pristine, wonderful, magical environment that is here on the earth now will suffer consequences so unimaginably violent and severe that not even an all-out nuclear war would come close to doing the kind of devastation that I'm trying to show you and teach you about right here. See, that's our destiny, and that's our work. That's the great work. And you see, what the masters of old understood was that the outer work and the inner work were the same. Building the holy city out here, building the exterior temple, the external temple, was building the internal temple.
Right.
And
I
when
have
we
something
go to
else I wanna
cosmic
say.
space,
So what he just said, I feel like is so freaking important. And when you gave me your phone to read the Gene Keys book, it shared a bit about this. And I've always known this because this is what we study with the healing work. When you heal within, it heals the
Yeah.
world without. And in that Gene Keys book, they said that all evil in the world is just fear manifested into form.
Yeah.
So when we don't integrate our shadow and we project it outwards, that's when we start to create destruction and evil in the world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are trying to dismantle darkness and fight darkness from just like that 3D perspective of needing to eliminate it on the outer world. And then that just creates and fuels more of the darkness. And this right here, this fact of it being an inner job
Yeah.
just hits so hard.
I know.
And it starts within each of us. And when we were watching the Jenna Zoe video, she was saying, like, start to think about the ways that you see yourself separate from the people in your reality.
Right.
Or where there's situations in your life where you're dealing with someone that you normally would want to like fight against. How can we start to dismantle that darkness within our own reality and turning inwards within ourselves and having that be like the healing that we send out to the world? So I wanted to share that little quote from the Gene's Key book really hit
Yeah.
because it's so true.
It's so true. I love the way he said it here of like the masters of old knew that building the outer temple was the same as building the inner temple and vice versa.
Yeah.
and human beings begin to experience the perception of the earth from cosmic space, what do you think it's going to do to our consciousness? That's a subject for another lecture too, because already enough humans have gone to space so we can begin to see the profound effects it's having on human consciousness. It's no coincidence that the icon of the environmental movement was a photograph of Earth taken during Apollo 11 on the return from the moon. That's no coincidence. Just that photograph of the Earth hanging in space changed human consciousness. What's going to happen when thousands of artists and poets and musicians have the opportunity to go to space and come back and relate their experiences to the rest of us humans down here? You see, part of our destiny is to expand to this cosmic consciousness, literally. And as we expand outwards, we're also expanding inwards. The outer journey has a reflection which is an inner journey as well. So we don't do one without the other. It's not like, oh, we go out here, we build rocket ships and go out here when really we should be doing a spiritual journey. No, they're not mutually exclusive. They're the same thing, exactly the same thing. That's why we used to talk about going on trips. Remember how we used to talk about going on? Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the age of Aquarius. That's the work of the next, at every cosmic month in the great year, there's a download to Earth, which gives the instructions for the cosmic work that must take place during that next cosmic cycle. There was a download at the beginning, the Mithraic mysteries and the Christian mysteries, that was all about this download of this information. That's why, for example, the cross is very, very significant. The cross is the symbol of matter. Now, next time you see a church, and you see the steeple in the exact geometry of an Atlas rocket ship with the symbol of matter lifted up towards the heavens, you'll know there's another inner meaning to that that even the worshipers in that church don't understand. But
Is the noise coming from our mics? The like
No, it's in the audio of the
oh,
video.
I'm like, is that me breathing?
No, it's because this is like a audio from a lecture.
oh.
nonetheless, they're presenting that symbol out there. It's ubiquitous everywhere because the symbols of the great work are everywhere about us. And all we have to do is cultivate the eyes, and we will see that all about us are the remnants of this ancient tradition, showing us the way into our future. This is not some fatalistic thing that I'm presenting here, not at all. It's the biggest opportunity ever presented to life on Earth. And we should have, if we had been following the timetable that was originally set out in the 1960s, we would have had permanent bases on the moon by the 1980s. One of the most powerful places to track and map the cosmic environment of the solar system would be from the moon. And we could have done that already, but the will and the vision was lost. You know, we started out strong in the 60s and we had a vision. And I see it was no coincidence that those of us who were experimenting with psychedelics and with meditation and going on the inward journey were doing this at the very same time that humanity is extending their reach into space. And that those astronauts, just down-to-earth practical men, went out there and came back visionaries. Came back visionaries. That's not a coincidence that all that was going on at the same time. It's no coincidence that people like Timothy Leary saw clearly that our destiny, the future destiny of mankind was space, the high frontier, the cosmic frontier. And I think the Egyptians were pointing our ways to the stars as well. I think all of the ancient cultures were. That's why they created star maps. The whole surface of the planet is a gigantic star map, if we know how to reassemble it. And it is pointing our way to our cosmic future. And if we succeed in that, Earth can be restored to its pristine condition as the garden spot of the solar system. And it can provide us with the prototype for the worlds that we can build out of the raw materials and energy resources that the cosmic matrix has provided to us. Everything we need to build the holy city is out there. The energy, if we set up a solar collector out in the orbit of the moon, in any given time, it's going to be collecting roughly 10 times the amount of energy that the same solar collector would be collecting set up in Death Valley on a clear day in the middle of the summer at high noon. See, it's out there where solar energy is going to become the viable energy source for powering an industrial civilization. You see, we should already be well underway of removing our industrial base from the planet. But again, we dropped the ball. We lost the vision. So it's time to reignite this vision. Young people who are going to carry on after us need to know that this blueprint exists and that we can't sit around because we don't have forever. Even a small asteroid is going to come out of space one of these days, and it's not going to be a near miss. And what's going to happen is we're going to find ourselves right back in the Stone Age, and like Sisyphus, trying to roll that boulder to the top of the mountain, and it rolls right back down again. Civilization, like the Masonic image of the broken column with the Virgin weeping over it, that's going to be our destiny. Civilization is going to lie in ruins. The world that we have inherited, that is our legacy and our heritage, will lie in ruins if we don't do this thing. And that's why I'm here, because I need to present this information to anybody who can understand it and appreciate it and try to hope that it can get out there and inspire somebody to say, enough of this constricted vision. You know, we need to move beyond having wars amongst ourselves. We don't need another, tell Obama, we don't need another $106 billion for the war in Afghanistan. We don't need that. That's taking the resource base that we have to work with and squandering it. Obama doesn't get the vision. He's ready to pull the plug on any space program we have. So what do? I mean, obviously I feel pretty passionate about this because I've been thinking about it for a very long time. And back in the 70s, when I first became aware of the possibilities of humankind moving into space, I would talk to this about people. When Gerard O'Neill first came up with his vision of building orbiting space colonies using the raw materials of the very asteroids that could strike Earth and annihilate the ecosystem of Earth, when he first proposed that, I was totally electrified by the idea, and I would share it with people. And we're talking 30 to 35 years ago, and the common response that I would get is this. Well, why should we be wasting our resources going out to space when we've got all these problems down here? Well, in 35 years, I haven't seen anybody come up with a viable solution to all of the problems we have down here. I'm waiting for it. I haven't seen it. And I don't think we're going to solve the problems down here until we expand to where our true domain is, which is much bigger than.
Wait, so essentially he's saying that when you explore space and when you have an astronaut that goes to space, the up level in his consciousness is so magical that will allow the shift within the collective in Earth, and then also being able to exist on different planets. Like the expansion of us traveling out to space has such a profound impact on our consciousness that it will lead to the creation of this heaven on Earth and heaven in other planets.
Yes, and that, like what he was saying about like the solar like farming effectively of doing that on the moon and in space also allows us to have better, cleaner resources to improve the situation on Earth currently. So it's like both scientific advancement and like consciousness advancement that then obviously when you're able to look at as we evolve, we should also be able to come up with more innovative solutions and like understand, you know, basically keep pushing the limit of our scientific understanding so we can create the innovations and the technology that we need for Earth right now to thrive.
Mm-mm. It's crazy watching these videos. I'm just thinking about like, it just really expands your mind to see past all of like the crazy shit that we deal with on Earth.
I know.
And
how,
it's like, what are we doing?
I know. It's like
We're wasting
literally
time.
like you zoom out. It's like that whole pale. Have you listened or read the pale blue dot thing from Carl Sagan?
Mm-mm.
It's like this little, it's a video of him basically saying, and the picture is just Earth from space. It's a pale blue dot. And it just explains it's like every person you've ever loved, every like neighbor you've ever known, every war we've ever fought, every blah, 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 blah that you've ever experienced all exists on this pale, tiny blue dot. And it just like gives you this fucking POV of like all this stuff that you get, that we get pissed about and we fucking fight over and we like, fuck you and I want your land and I'm gonna fucking drop bombs on you is happening on this fucking tiny little dot. It's like, why are we obsessed with what's on the tiny dot when like we're like, look at where we are. Like, look at who we are.
Yeah.
But you're just obsessed with the pale blue dot.
I guess my initial, but like before watching, I know we still have like 2 minutes left of this video, but before watching this, my initial reaction to us traveling out of space, and even when we were watching Interstellar, it was just this thought of like, why not just fix the problems that we have here? Kind of like what he just said, people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think understanding the expansion of our consciousness that occurs as we travel outward is helping me understand that maybe that massive shift in consciousness is actually what we need to counterbalance how deeply unconscious we are as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is crazy to think about. Just seeing Earth from that perspective gives you the insight into the oneness
Yeah.
in a way that some people will just never even conceptually understand.
Yeah.
And most people will never experience, because we're not fucking traveling out there. Like, it's not something that we've done.
Right.
So this oneness factor is something that needs to be felt from within, but it's crazy when you can witness someone experience it from the 3D, like from the outer world.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. It's really cool. I also really believe that our, like, who we are as a species is explorers. Like, I think this is just what we do.
Right.
Like, I think we've always been people or species who learns and grows and wants to see every corner of the planet, and someone wants to go to the bottom of the ocean, and someone wants to climb the tallest tree and the tallest mountain. Like, that's what we do.
Why do you think we do that?
I think we have drives to be curious and to understand. I think that's just like consciousness past a certain evolution point, is it just wants to like understand more and see more things and experience more. And that, I also think, I guess people just have that drive. It's like, where does, like, maybe it's like the gifts thing in human design. Like, you're just born with this gift and you come into it and it starts to communicate with you and you start to enact it and you just do it. Like Alex Honnold, the guy who like fucking scaled what's the mountain that he the mountain that he free soloed?
Not sure.
Great, whatever, someone will know what I'm talking about. But like that guy, like his amygdala is like super inactive, like he has like no fear, and so he's just drawn to climb these mountains and like scale them free solo with no gear, and like that's what he does. He just loves it. So I feel like as a humanity, as a collective, as a species, this is just like our like gift and thing that we have that just keeps like pulling us forward to like keep looking and understanding and have scientific breakthroughs and like quantum breakthroughs and like want to go to other planets. Like, I think it's just who we are.
I feel like that's just the point of evolution. Like, our souls want to evolve, so they push us into these desires where there's a challenge. And you're saying that guy doesn't feel that much fear, so he obviously needs to do something that is more extreme in order to feel like he's being challenged.
Right.
Whereas someone could feel the challenge of
a hike,
no, like leaving their house, like
right,
going to a certain party and being social. I don't know. There's a huge spectrum here that we're talking about, but essentially it's all the same thing of our soul leaning into challenging things in life that give us that sense of, whoa, like I learned about myself and I expanded and I grew. And with that, I think comes the challenge of exploring the unknown. Like, that's one of the biggest challenges that you can ever take on amongst this game of life. Yeah. It's just the challenge of figuring out what's out there and figuring out how things work and how you can solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you sit down to play a game of chess and you get that high of like dealing with the challenge of trying to win. That's kind of like what our souls are doing in life. Just wanting to play this little game where they're facing the challenges. And I feel like that big challenge is going into the unknown. It's almost like we're playing like Clue in life.
Yeah. And it's like supposed to be scary and unknown because it's fucking unknown. We don't know it.
Right.
It's going to feel terrifying.
There's also this balance of exploring while also being okay that we just don't fucking know.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch the end of this.
And just this planet. Thanks for tuning into this special episode of After School.
So we're
here at Canyonlands, Utah, a place of
Wait,
geological
will you just
wonder
replay the
where
last 30
epic
seconds?
Story of planet Earth is 30 to 35 years ago, and the common response that I would get is this. Well, why should we be wasting our resources going out to space when we've got all these problems down here?
That's me in the blue.
Well, in 35 years, I haven't seen anybody come up with a viable solution to all of the problems we have down here.
Drinking a soda.
I'm waiting for it. I haven't seen it. And I don't think we're going to solve the problems down here until we expand to where our true domain is, which is much bigger than just this planet. Thanks for tuning into this special episode
It's
of
like
After
Santa
School.
Claus in real life.
We are
Is that
here
the guy
at
that was
Canyonlands,
talking? Yeah.
Utah, a place of geological wonder where the epic story of
Dude,
planet Earth
I
is
commented on
displayed
this
for
video.
all to see.
And somebody
Learning
fucking
is a
commented a really
lifetime
mean
process.
thing.
Wait,
And our
really?
friends here at After
Yeah.
Can I show it? Or
Yeah, sure.
what did they
I-
say? Lol, he's doing way more than you?
Yeah. Okay, this is my comment. I didn't see these other ones. Amazing how we can visit space in a spaceship or in our astral bodies. Both get us out and exploring. Helping humans in understanding and peace is doing a little thing. Or bullying. Oh, people defended me. Okay, so I wrote this video. So this is a month ago. This video and topic is really resonating with me. I've only recently learned to take my work as a spiritual teacher more seriously, especially in comparison to the work of my partner who builds rockets so that we can go to space. Now I see that we are doing the quote unquote same thing, as Randall Carlson puts it. To expand consciousness is not to meditate or to go to space. They're the same thing. Thank you for this video. And then someone replied and said, lol, he's doing way more than you.
Oh my God.
I mean, I read that and I was like, okay, fucking clearly you did not understand what I'm saying. No. They have two. I thought you were about to hit subscribe.
No, I'm just going to just see what they're about.
But then this other person said, amazing how we can visit space in a spaceship or in our astral bodies. Both get us out there and exploring. And then someone responding to the mean comment and said, helping humans in understanding and peace is doing a little thing, ? Or bullying people on YouTube is.
With the face that's like thinking,
Dude.
interesting point you got there. Fuck you, Tom Taylor.
He's doing way more than you. Thanks. That's thank you for being my subconscious mind for me there.
And then
That I've been
3
healing.
people liked it.
Well, my comment got 5 likes. So 2 more than the negative one.
Yeah. Would be easier to move forward if the people on top that control the system weren't so anti-human all the time. As if any of us are capable of understanding what the next phase could be. Most of us can't even be bothered to make our beds in the morning. Yet we're believing we can save humanity. Save yourself first, then work on others. Honestly, facts.
Yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, we kind of shared all of our thoughts after watching it, but
Yeah, I feel like this is just kind of scratching the surface of a topic that I would have to go deeper into. But if you think about humans just being tiny pieces of this bigger whole, they always say that you can study like the inner workings of a human to learn more about the universe and vice versa. So it really is one and the same, doing the work of exploring our inner worlds and then the work of exploring the outer worlds.
yeah.
Because that's how you start to link up information that allows us to raise our consciousness and have a deeper understanding of how things work.
Yeah.
So I just go down this rabbit hole of thinking in my head as I'm watching this about the meaning of ascension and raising your frequency and raising your consciousness, and how I almost see Earth as this place that, like, what if Earth is literally...
Let it rip.
You know exactly what I'm going to say. Like, what if Earth is hell?
Is hell?
And no, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. I'm just
Why?
thinking in my
Sure.
head.
What's your theory?
My theory is that what if a part of the ascension plan is you, once your consciousness is so high, you no longer resonate with the frequencies in Earth. So it's just interesting to think about when an astronaut goes out into space. He was saying they come back a visionary. They come back in a higher state of consciousness because as you get further from Earth, you elevate in frequency and your perspective on Earth changes, and just your consciousness, your connection to your true essence. It's almost as if the further you get from Earth, the less you identify with the egoic self. Like, literally imagine yourself getting in
feel fucking small.
Yeah, which is a part of like an ego death.
Yeah, it's
So
important.
imagine yourself getting in a spaceship and being sent out into space. And would you come back with a more evolved relationship with your limitations, your inner limitations?
Probably.
In what way?
I mean, it's kind of like what happens when you realize that it's all meaningless, but that's a good thing.
Right.
Because then you just stop playing the stupid games and you just do whatever you actually want to do. And then you probably even realize like I would imagine if I was even just looking at that picture of Earth from the moon, it already just makes you realize how easily caught up we get in the stories and limiting beliefs and the material world and the yada, 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 and the ego, that then you're like, I can literally do anything. I'm a fucking speck of dust in the universe. How the fuck did I even get here? Like, what? I'm like, there's no rules. Like, literally nothing is even real. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a playful way of being like, fuck it. I'm going to just do whatever I fucking want because I'm existing as a speck of dust on this universe, and I might as well learn more and like fucking do the things I actually want to do that excite me and that contribute to the collective in some way that I think is meaningful.
Right. Okay. So I wanted you to answer that question exactly how you just did. Because now I'm thinking, as you ascend, it makes sense that we would start to habitate like other planets, because the further you get from Earth, I'm just imagining it energetically, like you're raising your frequency and you're going into timelines that are not resonating with life here.
But what about, like, I think that's a thing, but also the whole concept of quote unquote new Earth is not that you're literally making, like, you're like suddenly living in an actual quote unquote new Earth, but that the current Earth becomes a new one because of your raised vibration and your perspective and like the shattering of the illusion.
Well, that's what I thought. And then we're watching this video and they're like, no, we have to leave here.
No, but he's not saying to completely abandon. He's saying then Earth turns into the garden that it's meant to be. And it's like beautiful and thriving. And it's the model for how we make civilizations in other places. So we are like totally end up getting to thrive on Earth and enjoy its beauty and lushness and abundance. And then we get to say, okay, we know how to do this correct here. Because imagine this, it's like right now we probably don't want to take our exact blueprint of how we're living and apply it to fucking Mars. We want to like figure out what is the actual best, most abundant version of Earth, and that's when we're able to restore it to its like resource abundance and having energy and like beauty and like the Earth, Gaia giving us what it needs and us giving Gaia, you know, back to her. And I feel like that's what it's saying, is it becomes like the Garden of Eden that represents, is like the symbol of how we do everything else.
Wow, I'm really imagining that. And it just feels so beautiful to imagine Earth in that way. And I feel like the way that we get there is to start seeing it that way right now.
Yeah.
And to create those little tiny ecosystems within your current reality that exhibit those characteristics.
Yeah. And that's why I do think, here, wait, just push this down because I'm worried that your face is blocked and we can't see you.
I know, I just can't push it up because of that. So I'm like keeping it here.
Oh.
Could go like this. No, I can't. Yeah, honestly, this
Okay.
thing's very annoying.
Is it?
Yeah.
Dang. So, well, anyways, I think you're probably good. I just want to make sure we see you. Yeah, I think that's also why it's like a whole positive feedback loop, because the more levels of consciousness and like expansion that we bring to Earth right now allows it to make it beautiful and us to love it as it is and realize that we're sitting on this, we're in this incredible place already. I feel like that's also what like the whole new Earth idea would be, is to recognize that we're in a fucking heaven already. And the more that we do the internal work of building the temple in here, then the outside world reflects it, because then we're more caring to it and we nurture it and we understand like the reciprocal relationship between Gaia and humans and the oneness of it, right? Like that's what then would create Earth into a beautiful garden.
And it's also how we bring the frequencies of love to Earth
Yeah.
by embodying it here and allowing that to be the medicine for Earth to regenerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Should we do another reaction?
Yeah. You want to end this one though? This episode?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. This was like a different first of its kind of us doing like a longer reaction. We'll link this video in the description. Shout out to After School. It's such a great YouTube channel. This guy makes so many fantastic videos. They're all like this kind of like sketch style. And he has videos with like Ram Dass, Carl Jung, Alan Watts. Like he'll do like Andrew Huberman ones. Like he does really, really cool educational videos and they're like super fun to watch. So definitely check out that channel. And thank you for listening. We will catch you next week. Oh, and also, let us know what you think, because this is like a topic that's pretty out there and interesting to wrap your mind around. So share your theories with us about how this all lands for you. Questions, perspectives, opinions. Share it all with us. We want to know. Okay, cool. Thanks, and we will talk to you next time. We love you.